We're excited to have you here with us. Since Monday, over 600 vendors have been onboarded into FCP. And today's session is especially geared toward those who are, just starting out, getting a fresh look at FCP and what to come of it. So we want to make sure that you know exactly what to do next and how to, confidently navigate our system. That being said, we also know many of you join these sessions regularly for ongoing support and catalog management training. So even if you are already familiar with FCP, today can serve as a helpful refresher and a chance to get your answers to any outstanding questions that you may have. We'll walk through some key steps for managing your catalog, whether you're working with products, services, or both, and then help you understand how FCP kind of fits into your day-to-day workflow. Lastly, we'll wrap up our time with some Q&A, but feel free to drop any questions in the chat at any point, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. All right, here's a quick look about what we're covering today. It is structured into 11 modules. I'm not going to go through each one of them right now, but we will eventually get through them throughout today. All right. Kicking us off, starting us with what is FCP. Okay. The FAS Catalog Platform, or FCP for short, is a web-based application designed for both mass vendors and the workforce to manage catalog data for products and services. There are a few key things to understand about FCP. First, it's designed for integration and modernization. So FCP connects directly with existing contracting systems, such as eMod, FSS Online, and GSA Advantage. This means you as the vendor and the workforce no longer need to use SIP, EDI, or CORS. FCP replaces these systems, ultimately streamlining the workflow for all users. Second, it introduces automation for market research. So the system will generate compliance and pricing report before you as the vendor submit any modifications so that it helps you address potential issues before that submission reaches the CSCO for their review. Again, this will help reduce that back and forth communication and ultimately speed up the review process time. And then third, it replaces the price proposal template, or PPT. Now products and services are managed through different structured files. For products sold on GSA Advantage, you as the vendor, you'll submit a product file. For services, vendors will submit a services plus file, which generates a price list for items that are not sold on GSA Advantage. Again, this is to help modernize. It's meant to streamline the processes, reduce errors, and improve efficiency for not just vendors, but also for the workforce as well. All right, FCP access. All right, FCP access requirements. So if you are listed as an authorized negotiator on a contract, you can log into FCP using your existing FAS ID. If you don't have a FAS ID, you'll first need to register for a FAS ID, and then you can register for FCP access. Now, your FAS ID must include the authorized negotiator role, and all authorized negotiators will automatically have the vendor role assigned to them in FCP. What does the vendor role allow you to do? So as a vendor, you may view all your contracts and catalogs, which are assigned as an authorized negotiator on. You create new actions in FCP, such as making updates or submitting modifications. You can also process in-progress actions. So meaning you can manage your catalog submissions before they're finalized. So if you had two authorized negotiators on a contract and one started an action, the other authorized negotiator can hop in while that's in progress and push it all the way through. Okay. Quick note here: if someone on your team is not currently an authorized negotiator, they will need to be added as one before they can access FCP, and this is done by submitting an administrative modification request in eMod to update the list of authorized negotiators on that contract. Okay. For those that are brand new and online today, if you are having trouble accessing FCP, please feel free to drop that in the chat, and we'll triage that and make sure that you're set to go. Okay. All right, now let's review who can see and do what in FCP. So vendor role. So you as the vendor, you can view, edit any catalogs where you are listed as an authorized negotiator on. We also have contracting specialists and contracting officers. So the CSCOs, they're responsible for reviewing your submission and making a determination. So they can either approve your catalog action, they can return it back to you for vendor edits, or they can reject the action if it does not meet the requirements. Okay. And then lastly, here we have vendor support. So the VSC staff can view catalogs similar to how you as the vendor or the workforce user sees them. However, they have view-only access, so they cannot edit or approve any submissions on your behalf. All right, getting started, some first steps. So the first step in the catalog first steps process is the seller profile update. So when you as the vendor log into FCP for the very first time, you will be prompted to review and update your seller profile. This includes, confirming whether you offer products, services, or both. And just a quick note here, if this step is incomplete, you cannot proceed with the baseline catalog submission. There is a little bit of a lockbox here on screen, if you could see, and it will unlock after you fully complete your seller profile. Okay, the next step in the first steps process is to complete a baseline catalog action. So here's how this works. Baseline actions establish an official starting point for your catalog. Vendors, you must complete a baseline action for products, services, or both. Again, all depending on your contract and what you offer, and also what you chose within the seller profile. Okay. Lastly, you have the flexibility to choose which one you want to baseline first. You can either start out with a products baseline, or you could go ahead and start on your services baseline. Okay. Quick note, as you see on screen here, the seller profile has a green check mark next to it, indicating that that's been published, and then it ultimately, FCP unlocks that step 2, that stage 2 for you to start baselining, whether you want to start with products or services. Okay. All right, seller profile. So when completing the seller profile update, you may encounter some validation errors if required fields are missing or they're incorrect. So here's what needs to be checked and updated. There's 3 parts within the seller profile. We have the contract information. So here you'll update your minimum order amount to ensure that it matches what is currently on contract. You'll also select which catalog offerings that you provide. Again, this will determine whether you will submit a product file, a services plus file, or both. The next part in this seller profile is the contractor information. So here you'll want to confirm, company details to include, the name, the address, the point of contact. And then lastly, on the profile, we have the dealer and distributor information. Here's where you'll review and update any dealer and distributors linked to your contract. Quick important note here, if you select products, you will need to use the FCP product file to submit those items that are purchasable on GSA Advantage. And if you select services, you will need to use the FCP Services Plus file to submit items that are going to be published to a price list. Okay. And ensuring that all seller profile information is accurate, it will help prevent errors and allow you to move forward to that baseline step. Okay. All right. Once you as the vendor submit your seller profile, the CSCO is responsible for reviewing it to ensure that it aligns with what is on contract. If there is a discrepancy between the seller profile and the contract, you do have 2 options. You can either update the seller profile so it matches what's on contract, or you may submit a contract modification to formally change your terms and conditions and then resubmit that seller profile once the modification has been approved. All right. Now, once the CSCO approves the seller profile, that step 1 in the catalog first steps process is complete, and you as the vendor can now move on to that step 2, stage 2, the baseline catalog action, which we'll cover shortly. But again, the CSCO has those 3 options when we're reviewing your seller profile. So they could approve it, which will auto-publish your seller profile to GSA Advantage, or they can return it back for edit. So if they see a discrepancy, they could send it back to you. They'll write a note to you or a comment letting you know what needs to be fixed, or they could ultimately just reject it, which ends this workflow, requiring you to start the seller profile action all over again. Okay. All right. Once the CSCO approves the seller profile in FCP, the system will automatically publish that information to GSA Advantage within 2 business days. So what happens next? You, as the authorized negotiator, you'll receive an email notification from FCP once that seller profile has been successfully published. Okay, this is to ensure that vendors are aware that your profile is live and it reflects that most up-to-date contractor information. As you see on screen here, you'll see an example of how the seller profile information on FCP maps to what is reflected in GSA Advantage. This is how customers will see your contractor details when they view your information. So it is important to ensure that all seller profile information is accurate and complete to avoid any discrepancies, with how your company appears in Advantage. Okay. All right. Before we go into the product file overview, I'm going to quickly pivot here and just show you live in our testing environment, so you can see firsthand what is needed when filling out that seller profile. Kind of walk you through those steps live. Let me get out of here and hope I'm still. Oh, yes, I'm still logged in. Yes, I did. I'm going to make this screen a little bigger too, because it appeared to be small on my screen. Yeah. So again, brand new vendors, when you log into FCP, this is going to be the screen that you see. And this is our first step screen. It's under the catalog overview page. This is our first steps. And again, the only option that you have here on the screen is to update the seller profile. Everything else is locked. So you're going to go ahead and click the update seller profile button. And here, like I said, it gives you some validation errors because it's going to ask you, hey, you need to have some answers in there for your catalog offerings. And it does give you a little hyperlink here to edit that contract information, or you can just scroll down here to the contract information section and hit that edit button. Okay. So for today, I'm going to keep the minimum order as is, and it's telling me that we need to fill out our catalog offerings. So if you are a products only vendor, you will simply select yes in the product section for products sold on Advantage. And then you would select no for Services Plus. And then you would select no for price proposal template and then hit save. Okay. If you are a vendor out there that is strictly services only, then same applies to you, except you'll just change products to no, services to yes, and then your price proposal template will be a no, and then hit save. Okay. If you are a vendor out there that has both products and services, you may select yes and yes. Okay, and then hit save, and you're good to go. But just a caveat here, you need to have all 3 of these answered before hitting the save button, or it'll error out. You'll get an error message. Okay. All right. Wasn't going to touch on this very deeply, but I will touch on this. So the price proposal template, you do have the ability to update the seller profile now to select the price proposal template. Now, big foot stomp here. This option should only be used in the following 2 situations. Okay. So if you're a vendor out there that offers travel, transportation, and logistics, or TPL, if you're a TPL vendor, you will be able to use, you should use yes here. You should click yes here. Okay. If you're a vendor out there that is offering a very rare or unique item that does not fit in the criteria of a product file or a Services Plus file, then you may also select yes here. Okay. And I will add another caveat to that. If you are unsure, okay, please speak with your CSCO that's assigned to your catalog, okay? And they'll help you justify what needs to go where, all right? Yeah. All right, so that's our contract information section, all right? So we got our minimum order in there. We got our catalog offerings set to go. And then we have our contractor information. That's the next step here. We do have a little edit button here. So if there was a fat finger or the wrong email address got updated or a phone number got updated, in this section, when I hit edit, you can go ahead and edit the address, the contractor administrator information, the order department. You can make your edits there as well and then select save, okay? Again, make sure this information matches to what your contract is reflecting, because ultimately that's what that information is currently already pre-populated here for you, okay? But if you do need to make an update, go ahead and hit that edit button and make the correct update. Same here with the dealer and distributor information. We have an add dealer button here that'll bring you to the add dealer information. You go ahead and update that as you please. And the same thing here for the distributor information. Once you know all of your seller profile is good to go, it checks out, then is when you want to hit the submit button, okay? When you hit the submit button, like I just did, the system will tell you, hey, submission's in progress, and you'll be notified via email once that action has been reviewed, okay? So when you hit that, the CSCO that is assigned to your catalog, they also received an email saying, hey, you have a seller profile waiting in your queue, ready to be reviewed, okay? So once that CSCO reviews that seller profile and they make their determination, then you will get notified that it was approved, returned for edits, or rejected, okay? And then at that point, if it's approved, this action auto-publishes directly to GSA Advantage. All right, I'm going to hit the refresh button because I'm fast. It's still pending publishing. No problem. But that's the step you'll take. That's the first step. And I will head back to my slides here and we'll start discussing the product file. All right, product file overview. So one of the biggest updates with FCP is the introduction of the product file, which replaces both the product price proposal template, the PPT, and the SIP template. Okay, so here's what's changed. The product file consolidates all necessary catalog data into one single file. It captures everything needed for GSA Advantage publication, and it includes like some contractual fields like government price no fee for the CSCO for their review. It also reduces data entry and discrepancies, ensuring that there's a smooth submission process for not just you as the vendor, but also an efficient review process for the CSCOs. The product file eliminates redundant steps and ensures that you as the vendor are working on a single consistent source of data. Another key change for the product file. So FCP has fully integrated the product file into eMod, eliminating the need for SIP and CORS workflows. So here's how this works. So when a vendor creates a modification in eMod, they're automatically sent to FCP to submit their product file. The product file becomes an integrated part of the contract modification process, also including fields for options and accessories as well. But once submitted, the product file is returned to eMod and delivered to the CSCO with the rest of the modification documents. So there is an automated publishing for GSA Advantage. So after the CSCO has the approval, FCP will automatically send that product file to GSA Advantage, ensuring that the contracted prices and the products match what is listed on Advantage. Okay. All right. Another product file overview: the compliance and pricing automation. So one of the improvements in FCP is the introduction of automated compliance and pricing report, or CMP report, which replaces the 4P report. So here's what that means. The CMP report is automatically generated when you as the vendor submit your product file, okay? It leverages the same market research data as 4P, but streamlines the compliance review process for you. You as the vendor, you can address deficiencies before submitting your catalog for GSA review. Again, reducing that back and forth for corrections. Key benefit for the automated CMP report. So you as the vendor, you can quickly remediate certain compliance issues through the quick updates process. Again, before submitting that to the CSCO for their review. This helps the CSCO see fewer compliance flags and reducing that manual review workload. The workflow is more transparent. So vendors, you can see your compliance status in real time and take corrective actions before submitting that modification. Okay. Why does all this matter? So for vendors, this just means fewer rejection on your modification and a more efficient process for getting your products listed on GSA Advantage. Okay. It helps modernize how products are submitted, reviewed, and published, ultimately making that catalog management more efficient and transparent for everybody. All right, now let's take a closer look at the product file itself, which is now the standard template used for submitting and managing your product's catalog. So on screen, you'll see a screenshot of the product file, which contains multiple tabs, again, each serving a specific purpose. So quick breakdown of this, we have the README tab, which is informational. The tab serves as like an overview of the product file and includes some detailed descriptions of each field within that file. Okay. We also have the products tab. This is the required tab. This is the primary tab where you as the vendor will input your core product data to include product name, part number, pricing information, and any other essential catalog details. We also have the options tab. So if a vendor out there, if you're offering configurable product options, such as different sizes, colors, or warranty choices, those details will go into that tab. If you don't have any options, or if you don't offer any options, that's okay. This tab is optional. It can be left blank. We also have the accessories tab. This tab is used to list related or add-on products that are sold alongside the primary catalog item. So for example, if a vendor sells a printer, it may list replacement ink cartridges as an accessory, and that would be listed there. Okay. The next tab is the quantity volume discounts tab. Again, this is another optional tab. So if you are a vendor out there that offers bulk pricing discounts, those details can be recorded in that tab. And then lastly, we have the reference tab. Again, this is informational. This tab contains some predefined codes and some restricted fields, such as unit of measure and country of origin. So please, I just refer to this tab to ensure any proper formatting or avoid any validation errors that may come up if you type in some random word in there and it's not part of the reference tab. It could error out or validate or get a validation error. Okay. All right, the product file is used when vendors are submitting items that should be published on GSA Advantage for sale, are pre-configured, have 50 or fewer configurable options, may be subject to regulatory requirements such as TAA compliance or Section 889 or prohibited product restrictions. Okay, so what type of offerings use the product file? So the product file should apply to all commercial off-the-shelf products. So again, your standard products that are ready for sale, any supplemental services such as maintenances or warranties, but only at the time of purchase of that order, and then any off-the-shelf training courses. So if a vendor's offerings meet these criteria, they will want to submit the product file in FCP. Okay. All right. Product baseline. All right. So for the product, for the baseline products action, this is a one-time action that establishes the vendor's product catalog in FCP. After this step, vendors will be able to submit an add, change, delete, or temporary price reduction for your catalog. Okay. This is just to establish your catalog. The baseline is just to establish it. Every action afterward can be done to add, change, or delete off your catalog. Okay. So how to start a baseline products action? Vendors, you will start an eMod first by creating a new modification. You will select the catalog baseline subtype, which is under the terms and conditions section in eMod, and then you will create a new baseline product action in FCP, linking it to that eMod modification. All right. Once approved and published, this action will establish the catalog baseline, meaning you as the vendor, you cannot submit another baseline product action, and all future updates to your catalog must be made through, again, an add, change, delete, or TPR action. All right, on that same screen where you're creating that baseline in FCP, FCP will prompt you to answer this question. Do the products in this action have an impact on your published GSA Advantage catalog? This selection determines how the catalog will be published to GSA Advantage. Just to make this easy, vendors, you only have one option. Even though there's 3 options here, you only have one option, which is all. Here, you'll upload your product file. FCP submission will publish to GSA Advantage. And again, this is the only option that you have. Yes, you will see 2 other options here for some or none. Those options have been disabled. So if you are a vendor that has items that they wish to not publish to GSA Advantage, that would be your indicator to submit a Services Plus file. Okay. All right. Some more information about the baseline products action. The baseline products action is a comprehensive representation of all products that are awarded to the contract and published to GSA Advantage. This process does not require any products or services that are not published to GSA Advantage. Okay. How is the product file generated? So FCP, which is a good thing, FCP automatically generates a copy of your current GSA Advantage catalog in product file format. So all that information is already pre-built, pre-populated for you. And this file will serve as that starting point for your baseline submission. Now, quick caveat, you will need to fill out some missing required fields before submitting if they apply to you. Okay, and I'll touch on these real quick. So fields that you must complete. So government price, no fee is required for all vendors. Okay, so that is a field that needs to be filled out for all vendors. Okay, the MFC name, MFC price is required for all non-TDR vendors. Okay, so if you are a TDR vendor, you don't necessarily need to have the MFC name or MFC price, but for non-TDR vendors, you will. Okay, dealer cost, MFC markup percent, government markup percent. If you are using markups, those fields will need to be populated. Okay, and then recycled content percent. So that's also required for copy paper offering. So if you're a vendor out there that offers copy paper, that field will need to be filled out. All right. The baseline product action establishes, again, that starting point for your catalog in FCP. The product file you submit in this step will and should accurately reflect the products and prices currently awarded under your mass contract. So what can you update during the baseline process? Photo file references. So if photo file names are missing, this is a good opportunity to ensure that the photo file names are correct and that they are listed on your baseline product file. You can delete products. So if certain products are no longer valid, they can be removed during this process. And then there's new fields that I touched on in the last slide. You'll need to fill out the 7 required fields that they're applicable to you. Okay. What might be able to update, so what you might be able to update during the baseline is the supply chain risk management data or the SCRM data. So if this stuff is flagged in your CMP report, you as the vendor may be able to update specific fields to address those compliance concerns. I would just note, please work with your CSCO on determining whether or not you can make that corrective action or not. Okay. And then what you cannot update during the baseline. So temporary price reductions. So sale information is automatically cleared out after the baseline. So you'll air out if you actually have TPR information in there. So don't add temporary price reduction information within your product file while you're doing your baseline. Okay. And adding new products. So you cannot add additional products during your baseline process. Any new items must be submitted through an add action after the first steps has been completed. And then government price with fee. You cannot change the government price with fee during the baseline submission. Okay. All right. One additional required field in the product file is the government price no fee. So unlike the government price with fee, which is automatically included in your file, pre-populated, the government price no fee is not pre-populated. Okay. So I have to do a little bit of a calculation here. So since the price is published to Advantage were already approved and accurate, you as the vendor, you can use the preset formula within the product file to calculate that government price no fee from the government price with fee. So to do this, you just enter the formula in cell 03, and you'll drag it down to apply to that entire column. Okay. Now, quick note, this calculation is found within the product file template. So guidance is available within the file itself to help you. However, since this is a required field that is not pre-populated, I just wanted to highlight it here, just in case you're going through your baseline submission and you're like, oh, why am I getting a validation error for this? I wasn't aware of it. This is just a bring light to calculating that government price with no fee for you. Okay. All right, once the product file is submitted and passes the FCP automated validation checks, the action status will update through the following steps. So step one is going to go through market research. It'll say awaiting market research. And then step two, the CMP report available, pending vendor upload. So it'll switch the status to CMP report available. So what this means is once that market research is complete, the action status updates that it's available. And at this point, you as the vendor, you'll review the compliance pricing report to check for any compliance and pricing concerns. You'll also review the CMP results summary. So here you'll be able to see on-screen market research insights, but you'll also have the ability to perform quick updates, again, for certain flagged items. All right. And step three here, you'll just address those compliance flags and then upload that final product file to eMod. So if any compliance flags are present, you as the vendor, you must address them before the submission, okay? If the flagged items need to be removed from the submission, you must delete them completely out of the product file. Just noting that you can't leave a vendor comment in there saying, please delete this. That's not efficient. You'll need to actually completely delete it off your product file to resubmit. All right. Now, once that final product file is updated, you as the vendor, you'll submit that to eMod. You'll complete the modification submission in FCP, and then FCP action status will update to requires vendor action, submit to the CSCO in eMod. Okay. Now that the final product file has been submitted, I'm just going to quickly walk through the publishing process for the baseline products action. So here you'll submit the modification to eMod. Once submitted, the FCP action status will update to pending CSCO review. Here is where the CSCO will review the approval process. So they'll review your baseline product file in FCP to ensure it accurately reflects what's awarded on contract. And then for them to initiate that, they'll approve the baseline, which will award and approve the baseline modification in FSS Online. And there you will get notified to the DocuSign process for automated publishing. So once the CSCO approves that baseline modification in FCP and FSS Online, that DocuSign process is initiated. Here, you as the vendor, you'll sign off on that modification package, and then the CSCO, or I'm sorry, the CO will sign the modification package once you're done. And then once that is complete, the whole baseline product process is done, and it'll go to an approved status, and then it'll take a day or so to show published on Advantage. Okay. Now, at this point, if you are a product-only vendor, this is all that needs to be done to complete your first test process. Again, once published, you can then start submitting your add, change, delete, or TPR action as part of your ongoing management, catalog management. Okay. All right. Like I was talking for a lot there. Let me pivot once more, and I'll kind of show you the steps in real time on how to submit your baseline product action. And I'll also pause there too. Caitlin, I know I've been talking a lot. Is there any questions in the chat that need to be brought up at this point while I log back into a client here?
Hey, Jordan. Looking through the chat, I think probably this is a relevant question, especially since we're talking about, first steps and onboarding, kind of what to do if you have an open modification at the point in time that you're moving to the FAS Catalog platform. Should you continue processing that modification? Should you wait for that to be, processed by your CSCO? Should you hold on that and complete your FCP baseline before trying to do something like an add, change, or deletion outside of FCP? So I just linked to an FAQ in the chat that kind of goes into recommendations here. So I would recommend, folks take a look there, maybe some other FAQs. But if you've currently submitted a modification and it's pending the CSCO's review sort of while you come into FCP, you can wait for your CSCO to make a determination. And then, if that ends up getting approved, you can incorporate the latest mod that was approved into your FCP baseline. If your mod has not yet been submitted to the CSCO for review, we would recommend holding on submitting any types of those modifications and doing your FCP baseline and first steps process first, and then being able to go through and do any catalog updates through those modifications. So that's all I had, Jordan. Thanks.
Thank you, Kayla, for that. All right, here we are. We're back at an FCP and the first steps. And as you can tell, the update setup profile has been approved, and it gives you a little green check mark, which is great. Okay. Your next step here is we're going to do the baseline products. You're going to select the, before I do that, like I mentioned earlier, FCP automatically pre-populates your product file for you. So if you're on this screen, on the catalog overview screen, if you were to scroll down just a bit, you can see the latest catalog data. Here underneath the product file should be your catalog, your product file already pre-populated based off of your catalog on GSA Advantage, okay? And it will download. And I'll just open this up just to show you real quick. I know we have 20 minutes left, and I got a bunch of slides yet to go through, so try to be as quick as possible here. Okay, so again, it'll give you your product file just like this, okay? A lot of already pre-populated fields that we've touched on. Again, you'll have to touch through that README tab just to make sure you have everything listed the way you need it to be, and it's good to go. So for this demo purpose, I'm just going to go through and click the baseline products, hit the plus new catalog action, and here's my new catalog action screen. Under products sold on Advantage, I'm going to then select the baseline radio button. And then here, if you saw it was spinning over here. It was fetching some eMod IDs, okay? If you didn't have the eMod ID for this catalog baseline, it wouldn't show here, but I already went ahead and created one for us for today. So here it shows that catalog baseline eMod ID that I want to link it to. And then here's that here's the question that it asks you, and then the 3 answers that you can select from. Again, you should only be selecting this first one, all products. Okay. If you were to try to select some or none, the system will yell at you. It'll tell you, hey, you might need to do other updates. But for the product file baseline, all of the products in this action should update your GSA Advantage catalog. Okay. And then select continue. All right. Here we're at the baseline products uploader. So you can either choose from file, or you can click and drag, and I think I already had a file open up here. Let's grab one here. All right, click and drag. Okay, so now it's in there. If I click the wrong file, there is a little hyperlink here that says change files. You can select that and then re-upload that file. Okay. Once you select the upload button, it does show you the uploaded files here below. Again, you can click on this hyperlink and it will download that file for you, just to double check to make sure it's the correct product file that you're trying to submit. If it was the incorrect file, you can hit that remove button here to the right. Make it a little bigger. Over here to the right, if it was the incorrect file, and then re-upload the correct one. Okay. And at this point here, you'll submit the product files, and it's going to go through some data validation here on the right. Okay. Once it goes through the data validations, make sure that your product file is good to go. It will then go through automatically. It'll go through compliance and pricing report, which you can see here in the next accordion. Once you receive that compliance and pricing report, or review that for any discrepancies or concerns that the compliance and pricing report caught. At that point, you would address those and then submit that product file once you've corrected those actions in the next accordion. Okay. All right. That's the baseline product in a nutshell. A couple accordions here where it says vendor. Those are the accordions that you'll need to address and answer through. But I know this is going to take a little bit for us to get through. So let me switch back here to our training slide, and we'll go through the Services Plus file. All right, Services Plus file. So again, one of the upgrades to FCP is the automation of the price list publication. So and the Services Plus file. So the Services Plus file helps modernize and consolidate previous PPT templates into, again, one single streamlined format, just like the product file. Okay. What's changed is the Services Plus file replaces price proposal templates, or PPTs, to include the services and training PPT and the translation and interpretation, linguistic training and education PPT. Okay, so what does the new Services Plus file do? Again, it captures all necessary data for publishing to a conformed price list. The price list data is now accessible to Calc Plus, and the catalog information is also connected to the Sales Reporting Portal, or SRP. Okay. One of the upgrades was to automate the price list publication process. So whenever a vendor submits the FCP Services Plus action or updates your seller profile, the price list is automatically generated and published to GSA Advantage, eLibrary, and eBuy. So what's included in the price list? We have contract information, so to ensure that customers can easily reference contract details, consistently formatted data to allow easier pricing comparisons between vendors, and a streamlined workflow separating the price list from the terms and conditions file, which ultimately allows for that automated conformed price list publication. Okay, so why does that matter? The automation of the price list eliminates the need for manual uploads and ensures that vendors and customers always have access to the most current pricing information. Okay. All right, let's break down the tabs in the Services Plus file. It's very similar to the product file. We have a README tab as well. Again, this is informational tab. It contains details and explanations for all fields within the Services Plus file. It also has a contract begin date. So it's an optional tab where you, as the vendor, you can enter your contract start date, which then pre-populates the contract period dates or the out-year pricing within the pricing tab. Okay. The pricing tab. Okay. This is the required tab. This contains all key services information, such as descriptions, pricings, and option periods. And then we have the pricing reference tab, another informational tab, but it lists acceptable codes that you could use throughout the Services Plus file, and some constraint fields as well, such as catalog item type or country of origin. The quick note here about the Services Plus file: It has a 150,000 line item limit. So while it is highly unlikely that any vendor will have a file that large, it's important to be aware of that limit, because if you are a vendor that does exceed this, all we ask is just to please coordinate with your CSCO, and they'll work it out with the CMO team with GSA to get prior approval before submitting a large file like that. All right, so unlike the product file, the Services Plus file is used for catalog items that are not published for direct sale on GSA Advantage. Instead, those items are listed on a price list, which is available on GSA Advantage, eLibrary, and eBuy for customer viewing. So when should you use the Services Plus file? So you as a vendor, you'll submit a Services Plus file if items should not be published on GSA Advantage for direct sale, is listed at the ceiling price with the final pricing determination at the task order level. If it fits into one of the 8 Services Plus file catalog item types, has between 50 and 100 configurable items, or has highly variable or market-based pricing, meaning that rates fluctuate based on external market conditions. It also, if it includes leases or subscriptions that have reoccurring costs, or if you have a product, purchased in times of units of time, basically. So such as daily, weekly, or monthly increments. Okay. All right, services baseline. We got about 14 minutes left. I will try to be quick here. Services baseline goes through the same steps as the products baseline. Okay. So you'll start out in eMod. You'll create a catalog baseline modification subtype, and then you'll go back to FCP and you'll select that new catalog action button. All right. From there, you will then select under services that baseline. So where the one shows here, you'll show baseline. You'll select that radio button. 2, you'll select that drop down list of eMod IDs. Okay. If you are a vendor out there that has both products and services, and you just completed your product baseline, you will need to create a new eMod baseline modification for your services action. Okay, so each action that you take in FCP needs to have a corresponding eMod subtype action linked to it. Okay, and then once you're done, you'll select the continue button. And then here, just like I've shown you earlier, is that uploader screen. You may upload your Services Plus file. Just double check you made sure that you uploaded the correct file, or you might run into some validation errors. One thing that's different about the Services Plus file is it does not go through market research, but it will go through data validations and warnings. Data validations, you'll need to correct. If the file populates a warning, it's simply just to notify you there's a warning on this. It's just informational, just to grab your attention and say, hey, there might be something wrong. Please review it before submitting it ultimately to the CSCO for their review and approval. Okay, once you submitted your Services Plus file, went through all the validations, you will return back to eMod to submit that catalog baseline modification for the CSCO, for the CSCO's review. Okay, once they approve it, the FCP will automatically queue that price list to auto-publish to the Advantage environment. This only takes about a day. So same day that you submit this, or same day it gets approved, same day you'll see it published, I should say. Okay. So same day that your Services Plus file gets approved is the same day it should publish to GSA Advantage. Okay. Over here to the right, you'll see just the contract here. It will break out the terms and conditions and that price list. Okay, that's how you know that you have a separate price list waiting for you to review. All right. Okay, terms and conditions. I will be relatively quick with this one as well. So, terms and conditions after you baseline your service. So this is for all my services vendors out there. When you're doing your first steps and you complete your baseline services action, you have to follow that up with an update terms and conditions file. Okay. So to do this, again, on screen, you'll select that new catalog action button. At the bottom here, you'll see the contract information data in the new catalog actions page. You'll select that update terms and conditions file. The main point that I wanted to point out here is for number 2, the associated eMod ID from that drop-down list. All that you need to do is focus on picking the eMod ID that you just had linked to your Services Plus file baseline, okay? You're not going to create a new eMod ID for a terms and conditions action. You're going to use the same eMod ID that you use to publish your Services Plus file, okay? And then you'll select this continue button. Same steps here. You'll upload that TNC file. The one thing I wanted to point out here is when you're updating your TNC file offline, please remove that pricing information, okay? Again, that price list information is already part of the Services Plus file, so it just needs to be removed out of your TNC file, okay? So once it's removed out of your TNC file, then upload your TNC, and once it's published, you will then be able to continue with general catalog management tasks. All right, real quick with this slide, this is what the overview is for the catalog overview. There's some good information in here. So authorized negotiators, it tells you, well, let me back up. The catalog action, there's a drop down there to help you view any in-progress actions, any closed actions, or if you wanted to see all actions that you created in FCP, you can use that drop down to see your statuses, okay? Underneath that is our authorized negotiator list. So again, if you're a vendor out there and you're not sure if someone on your team is an authorized negotiator, that information will be populated here, okay? And then your latest catalog data. So the last section here is the latest catalog data information. This has your catalog file. So if you're, it'll show your most recent product file. It'll show your most recent Services Plus file. It'll show the most updated terms and conditions file. And it will also show the most updated photo submission, okay? All right, help and support. So the biggest takeaway off this slide, I just want to note, is the Getting Started in FCP Vendor User Guide. So all of my new vendors that are out there right now, if you look at anything on the Help Resources page, and let me see if I still have this up. If you look at anything on the Help Resources page here, the Getting Started guide is a great place to start, okay? You can download this PDF file, and it will walk you through how to log in to FCP, how to perform your baseline product, how to do your seller profile, how to baseline your services action, okay? Great place to start. And what else do we have here? That's the main one I wanted to point out. Next up is all the help resources are available at catalog.gsa.gov/help. There are FAQs, there are user guides, there are brand new how-to training videos out there. So if you're like me and you'd rather watch instead of read, you don't need to download the PDF that I just showed you. There are how-to videos. It's on a YouTube playlist here. Just to quick show you this. There's an introduction to FAS Catalog Platform, how to access, how to do your first steps, how to do your first time seller profile, which we kind of covered today already. But if it's just a quick refresher to go back to if you need help, okay? Lastly, weekly office hours. So every Thursday at 1 p.m., we have these office hour sessions. We rotate them every other week with topics, whether it's just products only or Services Plus only. But then also each month we go through an FCP 101 training, which you're sitting in today, just to kind of get familiarized with FCP as a whole and what you're going to look at when you first log into FCP. Last note that I wanted to bring up here is vendor office hours. There is a new Google link. Those that are online already know that. But if you have other people on your team that need the link, it is on our Help Resources page. So let me just show you that really quick. Over here to the right, the vendor office hours section. If you don't have a link or you lost that email, you can always come to the Help Resources page, and under the vendor office hours link, here's the meeting link and your phone and number as well. Okay. All right, I'm going to pause there. If 3 minutes left. Lots of information I'll bombard you with. If you have any questions, feel free to shout or put them in the chat, and I'll pause there.
Hey, Jordan, I'm just going to step in and say that next Thursday is June 19th, which is a federal holiday. So we will not have a vendor office hour section next week. But we're with what Jordan referenced with the vendor support center email address, phone number, contact them whenever. And then we'll resume the weekly office hours on Thursday, June 26th.